Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome to Monday and welcome to the entrance of the full harvest moon. The full harvest moon rises in its fullest on Wednesday. However, we always have a couple of days before and a couple of days after to really embrace this amazing moon. Now, this moon is a little bit extra special because we do have a lunar eclipse happening. And because it's the eclipse, it happens at a different time depending on where you're at. And then also depending on where you're at, you may or may not see the eclipse. Similar to other astrological events, it does not matter if you can see it or not. Most of us cannot see Mercury in retrograde. However, we've all recently felt Mercury in retrograde. Now, eclipses are kind of mini tower events. They're like the universe slamming doors closed and popping other ones open. So they can be a little bit jarring. Now, this lunar eclipse, because of the size, distance, and all the other scientific pieces, you kind of have like the moon looking like it's got flames on the outside. And it reminded me a lot of the Eye of Sauron, or Sauron. When I saw it, I was like, oh my God, we're going to have Sauron in the sky. And then I didn't think anything of it until I looked at the calendar as I was setting up. Hobbit Day, which is Bilbo Baggins and Frodo Baggins' birthday, is on Sunday. Weird coincidence? Probably not. So, getting back to the full harvest moon and this lunar eclipse. Some of the fear can be and discomfort that we see in the full moon or the lunar eclipse is down to history. Historically, the lunar eclipse or solar eclipse was very terrifying because we didn't understand what it was. Pop culture, it's added more. Also references, like I just mentioned. It's going to look at its when it's in its fullest eclipse phase, like the Eye of Sauron. Association. Just like a lot of things that have that really negative, toxic feel, aka Friday the 13th, it's not what it actually is when you break it down. Yes, it does encourage us for change and does kind of give us a little bit of a push in a direction. However, it is a push just like that tower where it's for our positive and most greatest good. Maybe not something that we had thought of, but it is for that positive aspect. Now, the decks I've chosen, because we are looking at the harvest moon, I do have the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. Couldn't think of a better deck to look at that harvest, because that's what this moon kind of signified, where people were really started to bring in that big crop, that final harvest from plants or aspects. We're starting to see that hard work pay off. And that's the underlying moon that this eclipse is going to be snuggling up to, I guess. As it so happens, this is a oracle deck that I kickstarted a long time ago, and it's the same artist. So this is a Compendium of a Witch, or Compendium of Witches. And I love these two decks together. They work so well. And then I have, so this is very much for the full harvest moon and the wild unknown tarot, just like the lunar eclipse. Well, it's going to signify the lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse happens on Wednesday. Well, we have a full week with the harvest moon, and I want to kind of separate the two because we need that very clear separation. So let's look at the full harvest moon and what that's going to entail. What is that going to look like for you guys? And full moons, people also have a lot of fear around because, oh, well, it really brings out the crazies, the werewolves, the this, the that. It's a powerful energy. And it's being aware and present on how that impacts you and those around you. This moon was the symbol of starting to see that hard work come forward. Well, let's start to look at that. So we have the 10 of Cups in reversal, the Magician in reversal. I love it. The Star. 17th card in the Major Arcana. The Hopes and Dreams card. A Balance card. It's an amazing card. The Devil in reversal. So we definitely have some kind of bigger energies here. We've got 3 Major Arcana. So, of course, the Magician. It's the first card in the Major Arcana. It talks about us using our abilities, using the energies from above with our everyday symbols or tools to get something done. Well, we're not doing it as well as we could or should, hence it's in reversal. Is the Devil, which is the 15th card in the Major Arcana, part of it? Absolutely. The Devil, it's not consistent with the Bible here. This is more about the low vibrational self that has us trapped. It's safety, or creating safety by keeping us in a little box. Now, that actually causes stagnation. Now, historically, this did save our heinies many, many times. It's not as, it's impactful, but it's not as positive as it used to be. We need to start to empower ourselves while distancing ourselves or minimizing the impact that lower vibrational scream has to us. We need to start to listen to that softer spoken aspect of self. It can be really challenging. However, the full harvest moon is starting to highlight the importance of ourselves in what it is we're going to be doing and where it is we're going to go. And also highlighting the importance of those around us. Noting not every, and this is a family card. The 10 of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles are family cards. Please know, not every family member is going to be positive and supportive. This is about an awareness and an understanding of who is supportive and who needs stronger boundaries. It talks about really empowering us. And we need that empowerment. There's a lot of places that we need to go, what we want to do. However, we're kind of stuck in, whether it be routine, expectation, and demand. The full harvest moon is encouraging us to evaluate that. Is that really where you want to go? Is that really what direction you need to be focusing on? Taking some time over the next 5 days to look at self. In the fact, this is not going to be one of those times where you're starting to really deep dive and get into the nitty-gritty of things. It's more about what is it that's working, what isn't working, what is connecting you to those hopes and dreams, what is supporting you in being balanced, being creative, and allowing that authentic energy and self to come forward. This is the card that Pamela Coleman Smith drew that has the lady in a weird position with one foot on the water, and she's kneeling on the land. She's pouring a jug of water into the water and onto the land. It talks about balance. Well, here it looks like a peacock in the original card, and I can never remember which Egyptian god it is, but I know he's the Egyptian god of creativity. And that's why it's one of the most balanced and creative cards. And we need that. We need it to really flow freely. The full harvest moon is going to support us in getting that flow rolling, starting to see that trickle come forward. And with perseverance, seeing things start to flow freer. Please note, this is not going to finish in 5 days. Like I said, the full harvest moon is going to get the ball rolling. Additionally, guys, this is something you will have to do. No one can do it for you. And if someone was to try, there wouldn't be that connection, the understanding, the value in it. We're the ones who are going to need to do this for ourselves. Now, again, don't hyper focus in on it. Don't try to get it all done in one day. This should take some time. And it doesn't, like I said, don't try to badger yourself to get it all done all at once, that it has to be done perfectly. That's your lower self. When we hyper focus in, we're very overcritical. It's more about trying to get a better understanding. So take a few minutes here and there. Be open to the ahas that come forward, because we are looking at the divine feminine coming forward in it a full energy to support us. So those little ahas, those eurekas, the nuggets of information that we have a tendency to minimize, and we do this through, well, everybody knows that, or, well, that's the stupidest thought ever. Write that down. We don't have to do a lot of action to it. We just need to start to get the pieces unstuck. Those pieces brought to understanding, acknowledgement. So start to write down those aspects so that later on you can deal with it. Later on you can start to incorporate those pieces as you see fit for where you're at. And no, guys, some of the stuff that's going to come forward, it may be pictures, feelings, thoughts that don't make sense. And that's okay. Write it down. I would encourage people to use paper and pen because, well, technology, when we're frustrated or overwhelmed, we can start to manipulate through our fearful energy. It's really hard to manipulate a pen, pencil, or paper, especially if you use something that is a larger piece instead of a small little book that you can misplace. I always encourage people to use a binder because it does give you a better ability to organize your thoughts, but also it's harder to lose. Let's be honest. A binder's, it's got some space. It takes up that space, whereas a small book we can lose quite easily. I love it. Stargazer talks about astrology, very much connected into the hopes and dreams, but looking at how things impact you. And yes, if you haven't done so, I would definitely encourage people to Google free astrological birth charts. It helps to gain, again, more understanding of self. Your astrological birth chart talks about where the planets are when you were born, what signs were where, and then also gives you your full zodiac picture. We're not just one zodiac. We're 3. Most of us know our sun sign, because if you were born today, then you're a Virgo. We know that. What we don't know is our moon and our riser or ascender. You need to know, of course, the day you were born. The trickier piece is the time and where. There's multiple websites that will do this for you for free, and it will give you that information. Again, it helps to get a better understanding of self. This is why sometimes when you read like a horoscope or something, and you're like, that kind of resonates, but it really doesn't. It can be that at that time, rather than your sun action phase, you're more into your mood, feeling, moon phase. So knowing those can help. Oh, I love it. Cornucopia. Those emerging pieces are coming forward. We're starting to be able to reap some of our hard work. And hard work does not always mean back-breaking labor. Some of it can be research, creativity, getting projects done, you name it. People, connections, boundaries. Oh yeah. The artist. I love it. So creativity. And I've brought it up a number of times. Really important. Like always, guys, creativity does not mean arts and crafts unless that is important to you. It can be anything. It's how you positively express yourself. And when you do it, you feel amazing. That's what we need to embrace. Because when we are in our creative mode, we get out of our head. We're not so caught up in the challenges and that low vibration. We're in the high vibration because we're creating. We're using a different part of our brain. I love it. Shell. You never know what's underneath until you start to open up. The full harvest moon is supporting you in opening up so that you can start to feel stronger, more in self, understanding aspects. It's up to you to do this for you. And know that as you get deeper and you start to understand and use different aspects of self, different tools, different abilities, more will come forward because you're starting to work with self rather than against it. All right, let's see if there's any final thoughts on the moon. And then I will pull some cards for the eclipse. Now, will the eclipse be something totally off this? Not really, no. It's part of the moon because it includes the moon. However, it gives us a little bit more of a nudge in the right direction, if you will. Oh, I love it. The Fool. The adventure, that movement, but more importantly, the carefree excitement and enthusiasm. He packed everything he needed in his attractive little man bag. He's got support. No, we're never alone. Yes, sometimes our supports do not come in a sentient being that we can see and touch in this physical world. We've got guardian angels, guides. We've got all sorts of supports. Start to work better with self through trusting in you and trusting in the universe. You'll start to see those movement forward, that step forward. Yeah, there's our stuckness, our fear, And I love the fact that we do have that full moon right there. There is a lot of fear. There is a lot of sadness because we are starting to work on that relationship with self. What's more, a lot of this is going to niggle that low vibrational self. So what are your low vibrational self going to do? Well, it's going to go into DEFCON 4 to say, oh my God, no, we can't shift and change. How can I protect you if you shift and change? So the easiest way that it's going to come forward, sadness and fear. So be aware of it. Check in. Where is this coming from? What is happening? And what's more, what tools do you need to be proactive and manage some of these things? Because the sad and the fear, those are natural feelings. It's just when they start to overwhelm us, that's when we get into some trouble there. The Queen of Swords in reversal. Please do not overthink things, because it's going to be amazing how easy it's going to be to talk yourself out of something that's going to support you. So make sure that you are checking into that. The overthinking, swirling brain, when that happens, use your tools to ground yourself, calm your mind. And the easiest, cheapest way to ever do that is going to be through intentional bathing. On the channel here, I've got lots of supports on clearing your mind, calming yourself, grounding yourself. Use your tools. It does not mean that you have to go out and get something new or buy something or overthink it, overcomplicate it. There's a lot of ways to do that, including through creativity, through trying to express self. Because again, you start to get out of your head. The Six of Swords in reversal. Now, the Six of Swords talks about movement. This isn't about shimmying out of a space or getting clear of something or trying to get some movement in. Yes, we need to take action where we're acknowledging things and understanding things. It's not going to be about trying to reinvent the wheel or try to see movement in this. The movement is in understanding rather than trying to get that process of getting yourself out of what you don't like. This is more about understanding and working with self so that you feel stronger, and then you're going to feel more able to get yourself out of what you don't like. We need to have that understanding of self first before we see some really positive movement. Now, I should say, before I get into the eclipse read, we have 4 groups of 4 in angel messages. When you have that many 4s or multiple 4s, you're looking at the angels telling you to focus in on your structure, your groundedness. Part of that structure is going to be understanding self, but also the angels are reminding you of the importance of grounding yourself, feeling stable, feeling in control of self. And I like how we started on a 10. 10s are about endings and beginnings. And this is a really nice beginning for that next chapter for you. That next chapter of working with self more efficiently. And we need that now more than ever. And it's the one relationship that we don't work enough on. Friendships, family members, partners, we're very mindful of needs, wants, and desires, and empowering and encouraging them. However, when it comes to our relationship with self, we have a tendency to really undermine ourselves, really be toxic and just nasty. Really reevaluating that, looking at how to work better with self. the Two of Swords in reversal. The choices, it's not really a this or that. This is, again, something that needs to happen. Yes, you have free will on it. However, there's not a lot of alternative. If you look at where you're at and what you don't like, well, you can't change it unless you start to work more efficiently and have more compassion for self. Have a better, stronger relationship that's positive rather than one that's built on toxic negativity. So that's why the Two of Swords is there. And the eclipse is like, yeah, this isn't something that you can just keep ignoring, because the eclipse is like a mini tower event. If we don't shift our relationship with ourselves, what's going to happen? The tower will come in and it will kick you in the hiney and it will not feel good. The Son of Wands or the Knight of Wands, it's in reversal too. We're going to need the determination, that no fear energy, like go big or go home energy. However, the Knight of Wands is he's fast. He's charging into that battle. Well, again, this isn't about charging in. We need to have direction. We need to have control over where that determination, over where things are going. Just to blatantly allow things to be, well, allow that lower self to take control and charge forward, you're going to find that you're charging in the wrong direction. That passion, that compassion, that enthusiasm will really help. It's just that unbridled action that we don't need. Action we need, but not unbridled. I love to see it. The Magician in the upright. I love using multiple decks because sometimes you get that double reinforcement. Really reinforcing. This is about putting you on your feet, getting you standing and ready to move forward, empowering you. Yes, this moon may feel really scary. However, this is all about really empowering you, getting you excited, getting you working better with self. It's a real positive shift that we don't like to do because it does go against what we've been taught or what we've been doing, because we are working better with self or positive about self rather than negative. I love it. The Hermit. And I do enjoy the fact he's a little turtle. So the Hermit is, of course, that reflection card. Now, we don't need to do deep dives where we're looking at lots of feelings, past traumas, shadow work. This is about doing that reflection, starting to work with self in a way that is going to guide you and empower you rather than cause confusion, if you will. The Hermit is supporting you in understanding you better. So you will need to take time for reflection. You will need to write some of this down because it's a lot of information. It's a lot of information that your lower self does not want you to keep, which is very common. And then we're ending off with the Eight of Cups, really reminding us not to get caught up in I have to spend a lot of time doing this. It's going to take a lot of reflection. I need to do lots of deep dives. No. You don't have to spend hours on this, guys. When you hyper focus in on things, that's your lower vibrational self. give yourself 10-15 minutes. That's a lot. Then close the book and do something different. Take time to be creative, or get into that meditative, creative, like that meditative phase where you're not focusing in on the challenges. You have that pause. Some people can get in that phase when they're in the shower or bath. Whatever format it comes in, get out of your head, get out of that whirlwind, that swirl. That's what's going to really help you to connect in with this information, connect in with self. And I should say, we do obviously have the double ones in angel messages. When you have multiple ones, the angels are reminding you to trust in your abilities, to trust in yourself. And that can be a really hard challenge. However, it's part of what the harvest moon and the eclipse are encouraging you and empowering you to do. I want to thank you for joining me today in exploring not only the full harvest moon, but the lunar eclipse that we're going to have on Wednesday. If you did like this session, please give it a thumbs up and let me know what you thought. Let me know how you're going to take time for you. Get into that meditative space, get into that creative phase. And if you haven't done so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. There's still a lot more content coming forward as we are heading into that fall energy. Oh, wow, that witchy time. And if you're looking for an added layer of support, I do have a Patreon page. I provided the link below so you can go check it out. Again, I want to thank you so very much for joining me in exploring this amazing moon. Take time for you and enjoy this amazing divine feminine lunar energy. Until tomorrow, my friends.